3rd of March 2023. As you can see, I'm sitting in the darkness, but the show must go on. In this news flash, I want to talk about the DA. And the title of the flash is the DA showing its true colors. Now, let's start with this one. If you vote DA, you're voting one world order. Now that is a loaded statement, but I do think it has merit. What do you think? If you look at this image, nowhere in our road ordinances is there something like that indicated. That is supposed to be a pedestrian crossing, and if you look in the road ordinances and you look in the road signs and all of those things, pedestrian crossings has got a specific format described in the law. But the DA apparently needs not to comply to the law. Now I've got another question. There is a reason why the pedestrian crossings is painted in blocks. And primarily, and that comes from a long time ago, it allows motorcycles and scooters and bicycles to pass through these crossings without traveling over that solid painted blocks, because when that paint gets wet, those things are as slippery as soap. Now what is going to happen here? Cape Town is not a drought-stricken area, it's a fairly wet area. Now what is going to happen to the motorbikes and the scooters and the bicycles on this wet rainbow? But I guess that doesn't matter. That is not important, as long as they can signal their message. Now for me, I can say a lot about this, but this is following the footsteps of the instructions or the instructors of the WEF, and they're promoting this gender-confused, immoral, satanic attitude which has infested the West, infested the White House. It's all over. And these are one of the things that Putin has outlawed in Russia. And the West hates him for that. But the DA, our DA, they are in lockstep with the WEF and New World Order globalist plan. Think about that. Two things. Those stripes are not prescribed or provided for in the road ordinances. And secondly, those things are going to be deadly dangerous for motorbikes, bicycles and scooters, and most probably for cars as well. And then we get to this report. It's from the South Africa Reports, and the title is, "What is the DA smoking?" The ANC is notorious for creating massive social welfare grant dependency in South Africa. Half of South Africa's population is 100% dependent on state welfare. The problems this causes is enormous, and this system needs to be removed or phased out entirely. It artificially inflates the South African population by providing a means of survival that naturally shouldn't exist. This inflated state-dependent population is a good thing for the ANC, as this group makes out the majority of their voter base. However, there is a growing risk for the ANC in this situation. The tax-paying base is decreasing while the tax burden, social welfare grants, is increasing. Sooner or later, the ANC will be unable to pay out these social welfare grants. The ANC will be removing one of the grants, the COVID relief grant, in March 2024. And it makes sense that they start closing the taps on those grants. I have said it previously in Skidmarks that the child grant needs a serious overhaul, because no economy can grow to compensate for the breeding of unbridled women. Young children are getting babies, 12 years old school kids as babies. That burden is going to wreck the South African fiscus. But they have no provision for any rules around that child grant. The least they can do is say only one grant per mother, provided the mother has matric. That will already make a huge difference. But today you get these young girls, they start breeding at 12, and by 16 they've got 4 kids, and they get that 4 grants, and they dump the 4 kids on the grandmother that must look after those kids out of her pension, while that breeder blows the bucks on herself. Think about that. But let's continue. The Democratic Alliance, their main opposition, announced that they are entirely prepared to fight against the removal of social welfare grants. No, this isn't satire. The DA is working on an emergency plan to ensure social grants remain funded. The DA not only deeply cares about protecting social grants from the ANC's plan to take them away, but we are also the only party with a proven ability to responsibly manage public finances to ensure social grants are sustainably and reliably paid on time for years to come. The DA wants to keep the growing tax burden population alive, while you, mostly white people, pay for their continued existence. As Tulatiri put it, your taxes are used to keep this anti-white genocidal socialist experiment afloat. If you thought the DA will save you, think again. And you can stop the video if you want to check all those things at the bottom. This says supplementary information. Only 9% of South Africa's population pays income tax, the largest share of income for the government, while only 3 million South Africans out of roughly 60 million paid 97% of all income tax. This system can be easily destroyed with a combined effort. Now, think about this for a moment. The tax burden is growing at an alarming rate. Go and check the birth numbers and you will freak out. And then add in the literally thousands of illegal immigrants in South Africa that walks around with SASSA cards. And I don't think it's thousands, it's most probably millions. And the thousands of children of these illegal immigrants that are part of the child grant process. How can South Africa survive? And if you think the DA is your salvation, you better think again. In this little short skidmark, I've showed you 2 instances where the DA shows their true colors. On the one hand, their World Economic Front colors, which is a rainbow, and on the other hand, they are showing you that they're actually just ANC Lite. ANC with blue t-shirts. Please give me a like, subscribe, and share this if you found it of value. Thank you for your support.